Hello, David here with another quick video. Not so long back, for Christmas, I got a set of speed paints. And I did try them out, but one thing that I did do was, well, make a little bit of a mess of it. I wasn't unhappy with the result, but I did not follow the manufacturer's instructions. So what I am going to do is actually do it the way that they say it has to be done. And because they're speed paints, I'm actually going to see how long it takes me to do a unit. So for the purposes of this test, I have here around about 50 crossbow dwarves. These are M4 miniatures. They were a bulk pack. Yes, they're on the pile of shame, but they are an ideal thing whereby I can just take 10 of them, a unit, try the speed paints out, get a unit on the table. That is the plan. So what I'm going to do, I am going to take 10 of these, I am going to clean them off, I am going to apply basing, and then I am going to do a white undercoat. That is the point at which I consider all of my miniatures, that's the start of the painting. Preparation is one thing, painting is a different thing. And then, using the speed paints, I'm going to see how long it takes me to do a unit of 10. And I'm not going to use anything other than speed paints. I will have a good think about the composition of the miniatures first, and the order in which I put paint to miniature, so that I'm not potentially, doing a colour right next to another colour where they can bleed. That's the whole idea, or that's the plan. I will go about getting 10 of these little fellas, and I do like dwarves, and if you think a bag of 50 is bad, there's 2 more bags of 50, because in terms of armies, I think quite possibly my largest usable army is dwarves. So eventually I've got at least 150 of these to get through. Let's see how 10 go. Into it right now. Alright, and here we go, and I will be perfectly honest, I am honestly not sure about this, because there seems as if there is an awful lot of paints here. Now, admittedly, a number of them are there purely so that I can give them like different hair colours. So obviously, yes, I've got all the paints laid out. These ones, I know the rough order. This is the order these ones are going to be going on. I did add crossbow prods, because, that just didn't kind of look right. Hopefully they don't fall off. And I have a stopwatch here, and I guess it's time to get started. Now, I always do my dwarves in a sort of British Napoleonic army sort of style, so that is where this is coming from. And the first thing we want is the pant legs, and this is the white, and it looks as if it's coming in more sort of grey. Have I not mixed that properly? Yeah, I think this colour definitely is relying on the fact that you've got a white undercoat. Alright, I'm going to have to pick up my game here, because we're already at 8 minutes and all I've done is the white, and I'll be perfectly honest, I am not impressed with that white at all. Okay, now, reddish orange. This is what I have chosen for the flesh colour, and this is just on the faces. Oh, gold. Yeah, I'm not sure about that colour. Alright, we'll give it a shot. Yeah, I can guess I can cope with that. That's not what I was hoping for. All of these just don't seem as if they match what is kind of on the label. Maybe it dies down when it dries, but yeah. Ugh, okay. And I think I'm going too quickly on these. I'm going to have to try warrior skin. There's a distinct lack of browns on here, and I do want browns. But yeah, so far, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't think speed paints alone is going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with that. I do not like this colour. Yeah, okay. Right, let's go back over him. Right, I am going to stop the clock there, because I need to take time out to re-undercoat the faces on those, because they're ridiculous. Alright, I am restarting the stopwatch. That red obviously wasn't quite dry, and it is leaching through the white, something chronic, so chances are I'm going to have to go back over and do that. But I do not have time. This is supposed to be a speed paint challenge. I am just going to have to go back over them later on. Right, next colour, black. You can't go wrong with black, can you? Now, this is going to be for the boots and the gloves. Oh yeah, that's bleeding badly. Alright, well that's supposed to be a beard on him in any case, so I may as well get it painted in. I'll be perfectly honest, I hadn't realised until just now that that's what that was supposed to be. I thought it was part of the uniform. Oh, this is all going tits up. Right. Over half an hour in and 3 colours. And you know what? I am less than impressed. The black's not black, it's grey. The white isn't white, it's grey. The warrior flesh over what was quite pinky has come out okay. Over a straight white, it's just realistically a brown blob. If I want a decent paint job out of this, it's got to be said, I'm going to have to just use straight acrylics to put some highlights on. Anyway, next colour. Now this is Slaughter Red. I am not certain. Well, I guess this isn't too bad. I mean, it looks okay when it goes on, but it just dulls down to basically rubbish. Nah, that's not what I was after at all. I am going to stop it right there because these colours are just not coming out the way that I wanted in any way, shape or form. I'm going to try the apparently bright red and see whether or not I get what I'm after with that one. Now you see, that one might have been the colour that I was after all along, but that just seems too watery. Now I'm using a wet palette here, and I don't think I should be. Alright, experiment time. Try some of that, and then it's not getting diluted down by the wet palette. We'll see what this does. Is it the fact that I'm using a wet palette that's messing it up? I mean, don't get us wrong, this is far more the colour that I was after, so I'm not going to take it out on the paint just because I didn't, you know, choose the right one out of the bottle. But it is difficult to know how it's going to come out when it is essentially a blend of 3 separate colours. But again, that's just dulling down to nothing. Okay, that is far more what I was after. Yeah, I'm going to have to redo the white on that. It's just, with it being so runny, it's just bled straight down. For these supposed to be supposedly speed paints, they are so finicky. They may well be speed paints in practice once you're used to them, but it's not the kind of thing where I would be saying to a beginner, pick these up, go for your life. Right, let's see what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop the timer there, and I am going to call this speed test a fail, basically because I am not used to the paints as of yet, and that's not a fair trial. What I am going to do, and I think I'm going to have to do, is use this one as essentially a sacrifice and test out the various colours on that before I apply it to the rest. Because, yeah, going from the sort of description on the bottles, that is kind of the right red, but it looks nothing like that. The black is definitely not a black. The Slaughter Red is kind of like that, but before I, you know, mess up too many more minis, and that one is going to have to be completely undercoated and done from scratch. I'll treat this as a test. I am learning as I go along. The wet palette is out because that's just doing strange things to the paint. Yeah, whether or not it's like leaching away the medium or what have you, I don't know. But the wet palette is out. It is going to be a dry palette, and I'll carry on painting these, and we'll have a squad of 9, and we'll see whether or not I actually just simply get a decent paint job from them. Alright, I have called halt to the process. As you can see from the pictures, I completed one miniature, and I will be perfectly honest, it is one of the worst paint jobs that I have ever done. I've got to be doing something wrong. Please let me know down in the comments you've seen what I was doing. Let me know where I am going wrong, because millions of people use these kind of paints and it is just not working for me. The only time I have had a paint job that bad is when I was using low quality dollar store paints over a black undercoat. It just came out insipid, which is exactly what this one has done. For something that is supposed to be on a white undercoat, it is just desaturated. All of the colours just look dull and lifeless. The black is a dark grey, the silver is a medium grey, and the white is a light grey. There's no highlights at all on the model. There is nothing at all to make it pop. You can get better than that using a non-speed or non-contrast paint over a white undercoat than what I have got here. So that is the reason why I cut it short. I could see that it was going to be less than ideal, and I'm not going to waste my time doing another 8 miniatures on top of that when I can obviously see that it is not working. It's just a waste of everybody's time. So my apologies. That speed paint speed test did not go anywhere near according to plan. There's got to be something I'm doing wrong. I hold my hands up to that, but I don't know what it is. I followed the instructions. It hasn't worked. In fact, doing it the wrong way, I think I got far better results on the Conflict 47 miniatures that I did. I wasn't massively happy with them, and yeah, I did need to use other paint to touch up, especially the flesh. The flesh on these colours is absolutely horrendous. However, deep breath. Yes, I did need to use other things to do touch-ups, but it wasn't a bad job overall. I am going to leave speed paint for the time being and get back to other stuff. If there is anything in particular you would like me to cover, then please do leave it in the comments down below. You've seen what else that I have on the boil going on in the background. Let me know. And until next time, hopefully in the very near future, once I've got over this disappointment, I'll see you guys in a bit. Toodle pip for now.